When the night nurse pressed the cool glass of her smartphone against my cheek, my vision was spinning into dark streaks and every breath felt like dragging broken glass through my chest. The trauma surgeon had just warned my family that I might not survive until sunrise, but when my mother's voice crackled through the speaker, there was zero panic, no tears, and no warmth. She just let out a heavy, irritated sigh, telling the nurse that they were far too busy because my sister was suffering a complete nervous breakdown over her upcoming engagement party. Then she hung up, leaving me to fight for my life completely alone inside an intensive care unit for an entire week. My name is Charlotte, I am 31 years old. And up until that horrific night, I foolishly believed that a mother's love was an unconditional guarantee. I am sharing this story from my new quiet home, and I would love to know where you are watching this video from today, what the weather is like in your part of the world, and if you could take a quick second to hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Sitting in that cold hospital room forced me to confront the painful truth about my family. The heavy rain was blinding the night a massive commercial truck drifted across the highway median and smashed into my compact car, crushing the frame like paper. Growing up, the unspoken rules inside our household were simple and cruel. My younger sister Chloe was treated like a fragile princess who could do no wrong, while I was assigned the role of the dependable workhorse who only mattered when bills needed to be settled. When I was 22, working multiple jobs while completing my finance degree, my mother guilted me into co-signing a massive loan for Chloe's luxury sedan. Predictably, when Chloe stopped making payments, I was forced to clear the entire debt myself just to protect my credit score. My willingness to sacrifice was always taken for granted and treated as a basic obligation. By the time I reached 30, I had successfully built my own private wealth management firm through endless 80-hour work weeks and ruthless discipline. Yet to my mother, my professional success was never something to celebrate or be proud of, but rather a bank account to exploit for Chloe's benefit. Over the past 3 years alone, I secretly paid off tens of thousands of dollars in Chloe's credit card debt, funded her failed business venture, and paid a massive $15,000 cash deposit for her dream wedding venue. Whenever I attempted to establish boundaries, my mother launched emotional attacks, calling me heartless and bitter. Lying motionless in that hospital bed, surrounded by the mechanical rhythm of life support monitors keeping my heart beating, the optical illusion of my family life finally disintegrated. My endless generosity had never earned their affection, but had merely secured my position as their personal safety net. The next 2 days were a terrible fog of emergency surgical procedures to repair internal bleeding and align my shattered ribs. Every single time I regained consciousness, my eyes searched the doorway hoping to see my family, but the room remained empty except for Nurse Sarah, a complete stranger who held my hand through the agony. By the fourth morning, the mental fog cleared completely, replaced by a cold and unwavering clarity. The head surgeon walked into my room and admitted that my survival was a medical miracle, as most patients with my severity of trauma would have passed away within the first day. Hearing those words resonated deep within my soul, making me realize that I had been granted a fresh start. I swore to myself that I would no longer allow my family to drain my spirit or my hard-earned money, and I quietly began planning my total escape while staring at the ceiling. By the 6th day, my physical recovery was progressing rapidly, allowing the medical staff to transfer me out of the ICU into a private room. I immediately contacted my personal attorney from my bed to execute a swift and permanent financial severance before my family realized I was still breathing. I formally revoked my mother's legal power of attorney, transferring all authority to a neutral corporate trustee. Next, I emptied and froze the joint account I shared with my mother, recovering $80,000 that I had personally earned and deposited over the past few years. Then I delivered the most decisive blow of all, by contacting the management team at the luxury wedding venue my sister had selected. Since I had used my credit card for the initial deposit and set up auto payments from my business account for the remaining balance, I canceled the reservation completely and demanded a full refund based on contract terms. Finally, I arranged for a private medical transport team to take me to a quiet recovery facility hundreds of miles away. On the 7th morning, I sat on the edge of the mattress, took a piece of paper, and wrote a brief letter. That same afternoon, my mother and sister marched down the hospital corridor, completely unaware that I was already gone. They had not come out of sudden love or concern, But because my sister received an urgent notification that her wedding reservation had been canceled and my mother found her card declined at a high-end spa, infuriated by what they assumed was a minor administrative error on my part, they pushed open the door to room 314 ready to scold me. Instead of finding a helpless patient in bed, they were greeted by bare poles and empty monitors. My mother stormed into the space demanding to know why I had been moved without her permission as the primary contact. Nurse Sarah stepped into the doorway with a look of deep disgust, informing them that I had been discharged an hour earlier and was no longer under their control. When my mother angrily insisted that she was still my parent, Sarah pointed toward the neatly made bed and mentioned the single note sitting on the sheet. Chloe snatched the paper with shaking fingers, expecting an apology, but instead read my blunt declaration that my credit line was permanently closed. In that letter, I made it clear that I heard every word my mother said on the phone while I was dying. I explained that my legal assets were locked in a private trust, my money was recovered, and their endless financial ride was officially over. As my sister read the final lines out loud, my mother's face turned completely pale, and she had to grab the edge of the bed to stop herself from collapsing. Chloe started panicking over her canceled venue, proving once again that their distress was entirely about their lost lifestyle rather than my health. 6 months have passed since that life-changing morning, and as I sit on the porch of my new coastal home, I finally experience true peace. I moved my business entirely online, cut off all mutual contacts, and focused entirely on my own well-being. Through distant updates, I learned that my family suffered complete financial humiliation, forcing my sister to settle for a small courthouse ceremony, while my mother had to downsize her life. Surviving that accident saved my life, but walking away saved my soul, teaching me that real family requires respect and love. If you found this story powerful, please consider liking the video and hitting that subscribe button right now. Your support truly helps the channel grow and allows me to keep sharing incredible personal journeys with you every single day. If you want to hear another amazing storytelling video just like this one, make sure to click on the next video appearing on your end screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next story.